The Lost Village of Skara Brae, written by Mick Gower and Sarah Jane Harknett, illustrated by Philip Bannister.
The Lost Village. The village of Skara Brae is more than 4,000 years old. It was built on the biggest island of the Orkneys, in a time which archaeologists call the New Stone Age. The people who lived then made tools like knives and axes from stone, usually flint. People lived together in small villages and grew crops like barley and wheat, and kept animals. Skara Brae was buried for over 4,000 years under tons of sand and soil, and wasn't found again until 1850. The Great Storm, 1850. In the winter of 1850, fierce storms battered the British Isles. 200 people living near the coast were drowned. Huge waves crashed onto the coast of the Bay of Skyle. What was found? Tons of sand and soil were washed away or blown away by the strong winds. The storm uncovered the remains of stone walls. Sir William Watt, who owned the land, and some of his farm workers started to dig around the walls. Digging carried on for 18 years during the short summer months. 4 stone houses were found, complete apart from their roofs. Beds, fireplaces, and shelves, all made of stone, were also found inside the houses. Small finds, like pots, tools and necklaces, were taken to Sir William's home, although now they are kept in museums. This bead necklace was found in one of the houses. Another storm, and more finds. In 1925, Orkney was struck by another great storm. More sand and soil were washed away by the huge waves and strong winds. Some of the houses at Skara Brae were damaged, but the remains of other houses were uncovered. Between 1928 and 1930, archaeologists found another 4 buildings linked to the original houses by paths. Inside the houses, they also found knife blades made of stone and pins and beads made of bone. These things show us what tools the people who lived in the village used, and how they fastened and decorated their clothes. This stone knife would have been used to cut meat or wood. The village then. The houses were so well preserved that we can easily imagine what the village might have looked like more than 4,000 years ago. Up to 20 families would have lived in Skara Brae. How they lived. We know what the villagers would have eaten from the tools, bones, and shells that have been found. The villagers would have kept pigs and cattle. The village today. Today, visitors to Orkney can see how a house might have looked. The original roof has rotted away. A new one, made from wood and whale's ribs covered with moss, has been placed over the one room. Copies of the villagers' most precious objects, beads, pins, and pots, have been placed on the stone dresser. Animal skin curtains have been hung around the stone bed. Modern Orkneys. Today, over 19,000 people live on the islands, and their way of life is very different from the way people lived in the New Stone Age. Farming is still important, especially beef farming. But there is also an oil terminal, and the most up-to-date plant in Britain for making electricity from wave power. This machine off the Orkneys is turning waves into electricity. But Orkney's past is important too, and many people come to see Skara Brae and the other world-famous sites in the Orkneys. They help modern visitors understand what life was like 5,000 years ago.